Okay, I'm gonna review Rogue One. While I like this movie to a certain extent, I find that there is some issues. Um, like the fact that not like some of the characters in the movie were forgettable. While the main, characters like Jin, Cassian, and K2SO weren't as much. I just think, those other characters like Baze, like Chirrut, like the other guy, like I can't even remember. I found they to be kind of forgettable. It definitely takes away from their, end death, so to speak. And a general thought. That's kind of my general thought. That's kind of one complaint, But then other than that, I feel like I do like the space battle in this movie because I feel like it was like coming back to the original trilogy era and doing justice to it, because now we have all this modern technology and how that plays a big effect into it that I really do enjoy. And that final sequence I love. But then leading up to that, like that whole beginning, like I kind of like the intro a little bit. But then after that, it definitely got a little boring. And like all that sequences before it were kind of like a little bit like just introducing yourself. And is ultimately forgettable. I think when the movie really picks up the pace is when they leave Jeddah. And I think after that, it's a pretty solid film. But leading up to that, some parts are a little slow, like the Jeddah part, like Saga era, was kind of underutilized. Like in the trailer, I felt like he had like a bigger role, or just that he was the voiceover, so it made it seem like that. Yeah. So it just made it seem like that. But in a general sense, all the sequences with all of it, I do love. Like Rogue One and the rest of it, I don't like. It just choosing the best is kind of what I feel. And yet, I definitely feel in many ways this movie, I feel like, is something that nobody needed to be told. But since it is, we do get a solid film. And I liked the sequence on that, like, I can't even remember the planet. But like that sequence where Cassian has to kill Galen. Like, I like that from the spectacle of, like, everybody has their own agenda. Jin has her own agenda. Cassian has their own agenda. Baze is out there for his own reason. Chirrut's out there. What's his face? Oh, God. Bodhi is out there. Like, they're all, an odd group with all different reasons. So when you figure out that they're all in different reasons, it causes conflict. It causes chemistry to collide. That works kind of in a good way. And I like what's its face? Gosh. Ursin Krennic, because I feel like he was like that Thrawn we didn't get in the movies. While Thrawn was in Rebels and what did justice there, this is kind of that movie version and does do justice. While I think sometimes he's underutilized, they did enough serve purposes, and I do like how this movie subtly makes me like New Hope even more, because you figure out Galen was the one who put the exhauster pipe that was able to cause Luke to blow up the Death Star. So I think I like that, because without this movie, without knowing that, you could have made it complete. Why would the Death Star have a giant tube that leads directly to the power station, Well, here you know. So I like that these subtle nods are trying to fix any problems they kind of had with the original, because they could do that. And I like the nods in the first movie, like, oh, Stardust was hinted in the beginning. It is well utilized in the end. And that whole scare sequence was amazing because, they all died, but they were all sacrificed. They weren't deaths. I don't consider them deaths. I consider sacrifices. But the one thing I wish more was we truly understand what it means to be a guardian of the wheel, what it meant, what Bodhi went through, because he used to work at the Empire. I would have much rather have gotten to learn more. I would have just wish he would have explained more about what his role with the Empire, because I felt like that's something interesting. And when I talk about in yesterday's video, spin-off stuff like that, I liked this movie. I found it was pretty entertaining. And what holds it back at third is just, I don't know. It's like Last Jedi and Rogue One for me are like so good, so close. Because on one hand, you get this kind of controversial, some issues with Luke, but overall I kind of like the direction and the tone they're going with every other character. And I find the way they're doing it is kind of interesting. And I feel like some, who's Snoke, who's Rey's parents, some of those stuff were a little disappointing. But then as you think about it, it's only setting up for episode 9. So I'm kind of like, you don't really know until you see episode 9. And on the other hand, I really like Rogue One. Oh, but I didn't like that Luke threw the lightsaber. Oh, and it's some parts of Rogue One a little boring. Oh, I love Force Syncretic. Oh, but I love that final battle, and that battle between the Rey and Kylo Ren versus the guards. Oh, I like all this. And it's like, you can't, like, it's like so it's like neck and neck. I feel like, but then you get to that top, 6. Eddie had 6 because I feel like my cat 5 is like untouchable. Like, I really love those movies, and I feel like my top 5 are pretty untouchable. And I feel like, what's his face? And I feel like Force Awakens just does justice to Star Wars that Rogue One and Last Jedi just didn't do. So it's hard because, like, it depends on the mood. Because, like, now you're talking about Rogue One, and I really like this. And of course, that ending sequence was like the satisfying ending I can ever find. Seeing the ship the iconic ship at the start of New Hope with that modernization. Same thing with Darth Vader. They take this classic character and modernize it so that when the battle comes, we're like, because this is like going to be the most modern version of Darth Vader we're probably ever going to see. So we're like, wouldn't it be really cool if Darth Vader goes all badass? And you get to see that, and it's like, sometimes I just skip to the end, because I think the ending, and I will be completely honest, is the best part. I'm sorry. That space battle is like close second. They're like neck and neck. But something I do like in movies, they're not afraid to kill off all the characters. Every single character that gets promoted is dead. Obviously, every character we knew were going to survive will survive. Every character we didn't know who was going to survive died. And that's kind of a bold move on Star Wars, which worked because we weren't really sure. Because we didn't know, we didn't really know the great lengths Disney would go. So that's kind of why. That's kind of like why we truly didn't know. It's because we didn't know it was great. Disney's gone great lengths yet. We knew they could kill off Han, but that's because Harrison Ford was kind of like pleading his death. He pleaded his death in Empire. And that's like, at that point, so long from Rogue One. So from not Rogue One, from Force Awakens. So it really overall does justice, and like I said, it's neck and neck. Both these movies are pretty unique. Something that might hold, Force Awakens back is not 100% unique, but it has that unique feel in the characters and Han and Leia and Chewie. I just love it. And so yeah, that's kind of I really do like. I really do think that there's elements in this movie that works. All the space battle and that space battle was awesome because you get to see X-Wing, you get to see all this stuff that you saw in the 70s and the 80s, now kind of with that modern touch. And I think every time you introduce something to that, something you loved in the original, like the Death Star, like Tarkin, like Darth Vader, like even Princess Leia, man, like, was amazing. It isn't digital touch. So even that, it all kind of works. It works. Okay, so that's about it.